If you're thinking that this doesn't apply to you, I really urge you to rethink it. For those of you that are trying to drop body fat and or increase muscle, as you're probably aware, with 4 decades in the industry, there are themes and patterns that leave clues, thanks to Anthony Robbins. And one of them is when I put people on Recomposer, which is simply a software program that you can accurately monitor water weight, gain or loss or shift, muscle gain or loss or plateau, and fat loss or gain. We do this with skin folds. I take over 9 sites, plus the scale weight, plus the same food in the same amounts exactly in a 24-hour period times 7 days. And then without changing a variable, coupled with the intense training, with the word on intense, and it's weight training. The same thing happens over and over and over again that fully supports my theory that 99.9% of women out there, that's my made up statistic, but one I believe, and probably 90% of the women who weight train and think they know what they're doing, and that they're likely personal trainers or self-confessed coaches themselves, absolutely, and they're 100% certain that they know what they're doing, yet they're not. They undereat in an attempt to drop the body fat, even when bulking, which is an old hat word, but that's another story. Even when bulking, they are in too much of a calorie deficit for fat loss. And we should understand that when we try and force our body to do something, eventually, after you've got some results because you're on a diet, your body will go, fuck you. And it won't have a bar of it. And you'll be convinced that you're making gains, but the problem is you're not. So I thought like I would do a live with a client of mine, Kylie, who has a naughty body that doesn't respond in a manner that I often think that it will. And after a couple of years, we've only just gone on to using the Recomp software, and she's been literally on her first 6 days. I was convinced that Kylie was under-eating, but not really knowing or understanding. Now, the first video that I did with her was in the wrong format, so I'm not using it, but I've put the interview straight after this. And Kylie said that she felt she wasn't eating double her normal amount, she was eating triple, which doesn't surprise me. And she came in and she said, I feel full, I feel like I've got a lot of food in my stomach, which is exactly what 100% of my Recomp girls always say. They also say that they feel fatter. Now, as soon as Kylie took her t-shirt off for me to do the skins, I knew she was down. 40 years of coaching, you can almost tell to the 1 mil of skin folds. So I knew she was going to have a good result, but I keep my mouth zipped until I see the actual stats. And I just want you to listen to what Kylie and I had to say when I gave her results today. Okay? Bloody hell. All right, so this is the results of, and it's actually really 6 days, not 7, as your first. Today. So you got off the scales and you said, is that good? And we both know we don't pay much attention to scale weight, except when we do it in combination with skin folds. Mm-hmm. So you'd gone from 79 to 76.9, right? So that's a 2.1 kilo loss, which we know as a general girl, they'd probably get excited, but we know better and we go, okay, was the loss muscle, fat, water, or a combo, and what was the combination? So on Recomp, it says that there was a loss of 1 kilo of lean muscle, but we know that that actually wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. That I attribute to the fact that it hasn't settled yet and the water weight's just going woohoo and like I've forgotten the word, but it's like leading us to the wrong conclusion. But that was to be expected with the big drop. So I knew that would happen. But what we can say, given the skin fold taking, is that your net fat loss for the week was 1 kilo. Now
That's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, which means a net drop of 0.2%, but it's actually more than that. But because recomp at this point, being 6 days in, it can't attribute that to muscle gain. And so it's actually underrepresenting the body fat loss and overrepresenting the lean muscle. And that will probably settle, if not next week. Like I said to you, it'll be the 3rd week that we start to get like really, really accurate. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was a freaking outstanding result for 6 days in. And what would you say? Like, would it be pushing double the food amount?
Triple the food amount.
I was going to say triple, but I thought I'll start with double.
If I look at it compared to now, I was probably living off 2 meals a day compared to this. Like, this is just a ridiculous amount of food. It's not ridiculous because I can still manage to eat it all, but it's just so much compared to...
And yet it's only about 145% over your BMR. So you can see that just to keep you alive, what you were previously eating, how could you expect to train with any performance? And yet this is the mistake that I would claim, if I had to flip a coin and go, what's the percentage of women out there? I'd say above 90% that are training in the gym, and 99% of women in general that are dieting.
And that's what I said, like, this week is the week I realised when I went out and did my deadlifts, I had energy to do my deadlifts, whereas usually I'd be like, do my warm-up, start it, and I'd be like, I'm running out of energy already.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. We start warming up, and we get ready to go to work set. It's like, yeah, I could walk out now. I'm done. So that's bloody awesome. That's so awesome, Kylie. And pretty much there you have it. So the unfortunate thing is that women in particular, but men too, they go by feel. I feel fatter. I feel leaner. I feel like I've grown muscle, and I feel like I've lost muscle. And feelings are completely and utterly and wholly almost irrelevant to the physiological changes. I'm not saying that feeling is irrelevant to the whole biofeedback. I'm saying that feelings are irrelevant to the muscle gain or loss and the fat gain or loss. And statistically, almost everybody that says one thing, when they come into my office and they're obtaining a result, will get the opposite result 9 times out of 10. And that is a statistic that I actually know because I see it. I've seen it for 40 years. Same thing over and over and over again. So in the initial, hi, how are you? Da, 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 and then the client says, oh, I feel this, like, to be honest, it goes in one ear and out the other. And I just wait until I've got the statistics. And I would urge you that if you're going, obviously scale weight, those of you that lift, you know that that's irrelevant, and that smart girls will always go, well, what was the loss? Was it water? Was it muscle? Was it fat? Was it a combo? What kind of combo? What were the contributors? All right, so I hope this is somewhat helpful and gets you to start thinking more food, more often, of the right food sources is likely your answer. And diets, of course, any diet, no matter what diet, will work until it doesn't.